The Doctor Dances starts off with another example of comic writing I love in this two-parter. As the children edge close to the trapped trio, the Doctor yells, "Go to your room." It just works so perfectly. However, as the gang head back to the part of the hospital where Jamie was originally treated, the Doctor realises that they're in his room. Sure enough, Jamie appears, and it's time to run. After the spectacle...
Go to your room. Go to your room. I mean it. I'm very, very angry with you. I'm very, very cross. Go to your room! I'm really glad that worked. Those would have been terrible last words.
After the spectacular success was The Empty Child, Stephen Moffat does the seemingly impossible and fulfills all expectations by delivering an equally satisfying concluding act in this episode. Delving into his past with both drama and comedy, The Doctor Dances touches upon multiple genres while presenting intriguing and engaging events and characters that leads up to one of the most glorious conclusions in Doctor Who history. Truly, the testament of a good concluding act is its ability to wrap up single storylines, and Moffat does so ingeniously. In one single scene with Nancy is forced to reveal her secret to her brother, whilst under imminent threat with a horde of gas-masked zombie-like creatures. The reasoning behind the secret, as well as the way in which it's handled, is simply superb and touches upon the morals and social norms of the time. Another reminder amongst the carnage of war of just where and when this episode takes place. As strong as the special effects continue to be to bring the environment to life, it's rightfully the emotional core of the episode itself that brings the episode to life. And finally, after the bombardment of turmoil and internal chaos the Doctor has experienced, he receives a well-deserved, wholly optimistic outcome to his actions. For just once, everyone survives, and the relief that Eccleston's Doctor exudes is palpable. It's hard to think of another time when the Doctor has been so joyous and proud, and given how poorly events have turned out recently, it's hard to argue with his moment of overt glee. There is often a messy trail along the way, and the Doctor doesn't think of long-term repercussions, but it's hard to argue that the Doctor does inevitably make people's lives better. Florence Hoth is brilliant once again in this episode as the terrified young Nancy. She's taken it upon herself to look after the city's homeless and orphaned children, having recently lost her brother Jamie in an air raid. Nancy knows that the scary, empty child is Jamie, but her terror whenever he comes close is completely believable. Some actors are able to convey enormous amounts of emotion with just a single look, and Hoth manages this with Nancy, when she stares at Jamie, just before she runs away in fear. We can tell there are hundreds of things she wants to say to him, but she can't bring herself to. We can see that she doesn't want to fear him, but that she's horrified by what he's become. We somehow know that she blames herself for it, long before the revelation that she is his mummy. That's a heck of a lot to convey in just a look, but she manages it, and deserves an honourable mention here. Nancy is torn between wanting to solve what's happening and loyalty to her family, and the fear of the truth coming out. She tells the Doctor that the object that fell from the sky is connected to her brother, but that it's being guarded by soldiers. Again, Hoth plays the conflict of emotions brilliantly. I can't stress enough how well acted I think both episodes are by everyone involved. She's then soon on her way to where the crashed object is being heavily guarded, having told the children she's been helping to stay away from her, as it's her that Jamie wants, and they're no longer safe with her around. Before she gets very far, however, she's captured by soldiers, and it's not long before we realise that the empty children no longer need to touch people to pass on the symptoms. The virus is now airborne. Nancy is horrified when she's left with a soldier who morphs into an empty child, but manages to put him to sleep by singing him a lullaby. The Doctor, Jack and Rose arrive to rescue Nancy, and the Doctor quickly realises that the object he was chasing was in fact the shell of a Chula medical transport. He deduces that the same nanogenes from Jack's ship are responsible for the epidemic of empty children. When Jamie was killed in the air raid, the nanogenes tried to repair him. After that, they used him as a template for all humans, hence the gas masks fused to the faces and to the many people with a sudden mummy obsession. As the object is open and the empty children converge on the site, the Doctor realises that Jamie's mind is controlling everyone, and that he won't rest, and therefore the epidemic won't stop, until Nancy answers the question, "Are you my mummy?" This leads to a poignant scene in which Nancy admits that yes, she is his mummy, The nanogenes are then able to properly repair Jamie, and Nancy can finally remove his gas mask. It's rare for the Doctor to try and keep up with the lesser being, who's that bit more Spock in Rose's eyes. By now the Doctor is becoming a little bit more taken by Rose, and I'm sure that there's a bit of jealousy afoot here. Rose even comments that the Doctor's experiencing Captain envy. Whether he's blustering over the merits of his sonic screwdriver, or just as useless trying to dance. It's one of the most conscientious aspects of the story, in that dancing is seen for a metaphor for, whisper it, sex. Mary Whitehouse would be doing the can-can in her grave if she could hear the Doctor confess that he some point danced in his life. However, I always love the delivery of the line, Rose, I'm trying to resonate concrete.
Rose, I'm trying to resonate concrete.
And just perfectly surmises this incarnation of the Doctor. Also, the earlier comment of how he's making an effort not to be insulted is just fantastic.
Okay, so he's vanished into thin air. Why is it always the great-looking ones who do that?
I'm making an effort not to be insulted.
I mean, men.
Okay, thanks. That really helped.
Handle the hoary old subject well with a wry comment on the Doctor's lack of hanky-panky. Doesn't the universe implode or something if you dance, splutters Rose. He's a powerful hero who's a bit clueless when it comes to women. Tom Baker's Doctor did the same thing when at times he was clearly a bit too clumsy or goofy to win over the female of the species. The Ninth Doctor's awkward dance moves suggest that nothing's changed over the years. Billie Piper is again on good form as Rose here, and she gets a lot to do, whether she's musing who to choose over the Doctor or Captain Jack, reassuring Nancy, or showing off her dance moves to the strains of Glenn Miller. At this point, Rose is still a likeable, engaging character, free from the future smugness, and she makes for a valuable part of the TARDIS crew at this point. Equally brilliant is director James Hawes, who continues his fantastic work in the previous episode, and matches it in this second part. One shot I particularly enjoy from him is when we see the empty child receive the signal from the Tula ship, and we pan down a hospital corridor and arrive on him. I like this shot specifically because it is so different from conventional shots used in Doctor Who, and just adds to the creep factor exceptionally, and highlights the talent on offer here from James Hawes. Seeing the crash site, the Doctor figures it out. The Tula warship was a field ambulance and contained nanogenes for quick battlefield healing. When Jamie was first hit by the ship, the nanogenes swung into action and tried to fix him, but they never interacted with humans before, and so derived their idea of what humans looked like from a badly wounded kid in a gas mask. They sort of made up as it went along, assuming that they fully healed people who wore gas masks. They made the people they infected sprout gas masks. But when they finally meet Nancy, really Jamie's mother, they had a different model of healthy human being to work towards, and the parent-child relationship between the subjects mean that the nanogenes knew that this pattern was the right one. I must tip my hat to Moffat here. That is quite brilliant, and yet it's something rather eerie equally, but as a conclusion for why all this happened is just excellent, and makes sense. As the Doctor rightfully says, there isn't a little boy alive who wouldn't tear the world apart to save his mummy. One other scene I must point out in particular for its excellence is the scenes that reference the banana, and the forever quotable moments that occur here. Finally,
There's a banana grove there now. I like bananas. Bananas are good.
another scene I must also praise for its excellence from all involved is the Sonic Devices scene, and for me it's just another example of how great Moffat is at the comedy in this episode, while still being able to maintain the creep and scare aspect of the empty child.
Okay, this can function as a sonic blaster, a sonic cannon, and a triple unfolded sonic disruptor. Doc, what you got?
I've got a sonic... Oh, never mind.
What?
It's sonic. Okay, let's leave it at that.
Disruptor, cannon, what?
It's sonic. Totally sonic. I am sonic. Oh.
A sonic what?
Screwdriver!
Nevertheless, I absolutely love Eccleston in the scene near the end of the episode where the Ninth Doctor is on such a high, having been able to save all those people, and for me just ultimately defines who Nine came to be at the end of his tenure. Another...
The nanogenes will clean up the mess and switch themselves off, because I've just told them to. Nancy and Jamie will go to Dr. Constantine for help. Ditto. All in all things considered, fantastic.
Look at you beaming away like your Father Christmas.
Who says I'm not? Red bicycle when you were 12.
What?
And everybody lives, Rose. Everybody lives. I need more days like this.
Doctor.
Go on, ask me anything. I'm on fire!
Another scene I also really adore is the dancing scene in the end, with the TARDIS interior invoking a 40s nightclub, with the illuminating green dominating. It just so perfectly encapsulates the fun aspect of both the show as a whole and the Doctor at times.
Rose, I've just remembered.
What?
I can dance. I can dance.
Actually, Doctor, I thought Jack might like this dance.
I'm sure he would, Rose. I'm absolutely certain. But who with?
In summation, this two-parter is the highlight of the first season for me, and it's just a frightening tale which generates its scares through the performances and the subtlest of effects and direction here. A horror tale that understands the genre and allows the time to build up an atmosphere. As such, it's the most classic Who story yet, with an appropriately slower pace, a staring location, some freakish faceless monsters, and a Doctor-companion combo that positively twinkles. In all this respect, this is the Pyramids of Mars for the next generation. The best thing about this episode is how prerequisite it is. Being in the middle of the Blitz is quite possibly the only place a gas mask wearing child could be. This is how well integrated Moffat's villain and the setting are in these two episodes, that if we took the setting away, we weren't able to have the villain. And of course, everybody lives.
Oh, come on. Give me a day like this. Give me this one. Welcome back! 20 years to pop music. You're gonna love it.
What are you doing?
Software patch. Gonna email the upgrade. You want moves, Rose? I'll give you moves. Everybody lives, Rose. Just this once. Everybody
Lives. To say the scene is magnificent wouldn't be giving it the credit it deserves. It is truly magical and always gives me the feels when I watch it. What makes the scene so excellent is the build up to it and how much Eccleston's Doctor really needs this moment. There is a moment of desperation and there is some vague hope that Jamie is okay. He wasn't expecting this to happen, and that's what helps it pay off so brilliantly. Eccleston really plays the painful incarnation perfectly in that moment and really highlights just how great this would be for him. Moffat's first script is still one of his best, managing to tell a wartime story whilst avoiding all the cliches and a fine science fiction story at the same time, with plenty of gorgeous lines for everybody and some unexpected moments of poignancy. It's a beautifully realised piece as well, evocatively all shot at night and with some stylish touches that really make this an under the duvet experience. John Barrowman joins the cast, and he makes an instant impression, and by the end of the tale, the Doctor, Rose and Jack make for a blissful trio of regulars. All in all, this is one of the most strongest Doctor Who stories you are likely to see. Just when you think it's going to end with a load of technobabble, the story hits you with the most emotional revelations. This is what Moffat was producing when he only had to deliver one story a year, and I really miss those days. I have absolutely no problems with this episode, and that is why I give The Empty Child a 9.5 out of 10, and The Doctor Dances a 10 out of 10.